Company, you don't want to put rock salt on the sidewalks because when the sun heats it up, it takes around 769 kilojoules to dissolve it. And what happens then, the chlorine basically is released onto the sidewalk and it dissolves the sidewalk. You'll start to see pits and it'll start to crumble. And people, have a concern about that because replacing a sidewalk is expensive.
Well, you don't let it get under your car.
Right. So, be aware that, like, if your grade is low and you're, like, not doing something you should be doing, and your parent comes in, the first thing I do is pull up this video. And I say, if I'm constantly telling your kid to be on task, right, and then their grade is low, I'm not really documenting that they're, probably not doing what they're supposed to be doing in class. So I'm not going to nag you. I'm just going to document what you're doing. So when your grade is low, I say, well, there's some reasons for that. Now, magnesium chloride is the one that most of your snow removal companies are using the most because it only allows 40% of the chlorine to be released into the environment. So it's least damaging to the road or sidewalk that you're putting it on. That's a very important thing to remember. You don't want to damage what you're trying to treat. That's the big problem right now with chemotherapy and radiation. You have X, but you often cause Y. You often cause other problems. So that's something that you hopefully will be engaged to in the future and help decrease Y from being caused by these chemotherapy and radiation. Chemotherapy basically would be chemicals trying to solve one problem. Hopefully in the future we'll be able to choose chemicals that are a little bit more target specific. So we're examining how temperature affects solubility. We're at 11 degrees Celsius and we're going to measure it again when the light comes on. Compounds are doing what again? The metal is doing what to the non-metal? Raise your hand. Anna? Transferring, so you can see that happens. Now chlorine is behaving like what noble gas?
Ooh, argon.
Argon. So there it goes to argon. And what is sodium behaving like?
What is it? Not argon.
What noble gas is sodium behaving like?
Ooh,
Okay. Which one? Yes, it is neon. So the electrons are around the chlorine. Why are the electrons around the chlorine, not the sodium? Why are the electrons shown around the chlorine and not the sodium? If you pour bleach, which is chlorine, on your clothes, it's responsible for the change. That's the whole idea, is helping you understand which one is wanting to move around and cause the reaction to take place. So that's kind of the dangerous one. Pay attention to the dangerous one, right? So D is correct for number 9. And number 10? All right, Cody.
Which of the following compounds contains the Mn3 ion? C. Mn2O3.
And number 11? Let's go with Garrett.
How are chemical formulas of binary ionic compounds generally written in my books? A.
Number 12? Lauren?
Which of the following is true about the composition of ionic compounds in A?
Number 13? Now you can pull your tablet out and take a picture of this test. I have no problem with that. Because I'm not going to photocopy and give it to you. But there will be, like I said, 30 questions from this test quiz on the next test Friday. Alright, what number are we on? 14? 13? Alright, go ahead, Liza.
Which of the following shows correctly an ion pair in the ionic compound to ion field? And I said D, Fe, O2, Fe,
And number 14. Hannah?
In which of the following are the formulas of the ionic compound and the charges of metal ionic shown correctly? And it's B, THO2, TH4 possible.
B is correct, and 15. Hannah?
Which of the following correctly represents an ion pair in an ionic compound? The ions form A, Ca negative 2, F negative, Ca F2.
Alright, 16.
Wait, what was
15's A. 16. Okay, 16 is D. Number 17. 17 is A. 18. 18 is C. 19. Alright, Ed.
What is the correct formula for potassium sulfide? And I put CK2SO3.
And number 20. Heather?
I put, oh, which set of chemical negative chemical formula for the same compound is correct, and I put B, which is iron 3 phosphate.
And number 21. Sophia? And number 22. Adam?
Which polyatomic ion forms a neutral compound that is divided into IA atomic ion and they form the ratio. And I put C, nitrogen.
Alright, number C. Letter C and number 24. Alright, Jake.
Wait, number 24.
23, sorry.
Sulfur hexafluoride is an example of I put C binary compound.
That is correct. And number 25. Oh, 24, sorry. Alright, let's go with Clayton.
Molecular compounds are usually C, composed of 2 or more non-metallic elements.
And number 25. Let's go with Lauren.
Which of the following correctly shows prefixes using the binary multiple compound units corresponding numbers? Oh wait, what is the ending name of the binary compound, both ionic and molecular, and
And number 26. Let's go with Cody.
Which of the following correctly shows a prefix used in naming binary molecules compounds with its corresponding number? I put B, no, which is not.
And 27. Adam.
Which of the following is a binary molecular compound? I put BPC. Is that L or I?
27.
BPC. I guess it's L.
PCl, yeah, chlorine. And 28. Adam.
Which of the following formulas represent a molecular compound? And I put CSO2.
Very good. And number 29. Hannah?
Consider a mixture compound have the formula MXTY. The compound is not an acid if it contains only 2 elements, and if N is not metal, which of the following is true of the compound? And I said D, it is binary molecular compound.
And number 30. Let's go with Garrett.
When dissolved in water, acids produce C hydrogen. Hydrogen.
And number 31. Let's go with Joseph.
When naming acids, the prefix hydro is used when the name of the acid ends in, and I put A.
And number 32. Let's go with Lauren.
Which of the following shows both the correct formula and correct name of an acid? And I put C.
And 33. Hannah.
What is the name of H2SO3? And I said D, sulfuric acid.
And 34. Adam.
The name of an anion, this is a part of an acid in height. Acid name includes the suffix A,
35. Jake?
What is the formula for sulfurous acid? And I put H2SO2.
And 36. Adam?
What's the formula for phosphoric acid? And I put BH2CO4.
And 37. Alright, 37 is D. Now up here, yesterday I added a little bit of heat just from my hands, and we were getting some pretty good electrical current through the... There we go. See how it's lighting up now? So I stirred a little bit, and it helped like distribute the ions. So it's kind of like Morse code. So looks like we're getting a little bit of light at 50 degrees Celsius. That's when it started. So it's consistently lighting up now. And we're, like I said, we're around 60 now, and it's getting a little brighter. So noticed light at 50 degrees Celsius, and the brightness intensity increase. Number 1 is B.
Which of the following correctly shows prefix used in naming binary molecular compounds with its corresponding number? Do I have the answers?
Just give me the correct answer.
I got B. Nana 9.
27 is B.
It said 26.
Oh, correction, 26 is B. I looked at the wrong one. Apologize for that. Right, physical properties have to do with the electron behavior. That would be dependent. Electrons are dependent on physical properties. That is, electrons produce physical properties.
What do I need to write it down? What do you do?
No, you can use your tablet to take a picture of it so you're prepared for the test on Friday. So on Friday, 30 of these questions will be on the test. So there's a lot about repetition that we're trying to teach you here. Studying how to do a process, being comfortable that you know what you're studying is going to be found on the test. When you go to college, you'll see this as well. You'll see people that don't show up to class, and then they'll show up to class and they'll get an A on the test. You'll be, how'd they do that? Well, they knew somebody who had the class before. This is true at Eastern. There are teachers here at this building that students had the teacher the year before, and they have all the tests and all of the quizzes that they gave. The teachers might modify them a little bit, but that gives them an extreme advantage. Now, if you're new and you come in and you don't have anybody that has all access to that, you're not going to score as well typically in that class.
Which of the following correctly describes the formula of classified atoms and
Number 9. Number 8 is D. 8 is D. All right, Vance.
An ike or eight or ike appears as a compound name usually indicates that the compound contains E.
That is correct. Number 10, Kaya.
Which of the following compounds contains the Mn very positive ion? And I put C.
Number 11, Gabriel.
Our chemical formula is a binary ionic combustion.
Number 12, Vance.
Which of the following is true about the composition of an ionic compound? Is A.
Number 13, Carlos.
Which of the following shows correctly an ion pair in the ionic compound that two ions form? And I put D.
14, Okay, 14 says, which of the following are the formula of the ionic compound and the charge on the metal ion shown correct? So nobody got 14? Okay, what'd you get? B is correct. And number 15. Now 15 was an error in the test. You see the CA, it should be 2 positive. So 15A is the correct answer. This is a typing error on part of the test. All right, number 16. 15 was A due to a typing error on the test. And number 16. All right, go ahead, Christian. And 17. 16 is D. I guess 17, okay.
Which of the following compounds contains the lead 2 ion? I put A.
Very good. And 18. Okay, 18 says, which set of chemical name and chemical formula for the same compound is correct? So you have to know the name and the formula. C is correct. Tin-4 bromide, SnBr4. Number 19, Diana.
What is the correct formula for potassium sulfide? C.
And number 20. When he says which set of chemical name and chemical formula for the same compound is correct. So it's similar to 18. So you have to know the name and the formula. I typically look at the formula first. So you look at PO4. If you see PO4 right here, you can go back to the reference sheet and you can find the PO4 ion. And it is 3 negative. So you go PO4, 3 negative. So the iron must be 3 positive because it's a 3 negative to balance that out. So 20 is B. The charges have to be the same. So that's the power of the reference sheet. Knowing the charge, you have to memorize the charge as well. That's what makes this really difficult, because details often are the things that you kind of, I guess, start to question a little bit. When you've memorized something, you're like, was that 2 negative or 3 negative? They have them grouped on the reference sheet to aid you with that. But then again, that's quite a few things to memorize. Most phone numbers are how many digits? Because people have a hard time memorizing past a certain number. Memorizing all those, you'd almost have to come up with an analogy to do that. It's very difficult to be confident on it, to get the name and the charge correct. I've moved away from that a little bit because Amazon, they're looking for people who can invent, come up with new ideas, because they want to put like Ford out of business. They want to make driverless cars like Apple is getting ready to do. They're supposed to release their driverless car in 2020.
That's when we graduate.
What's it called?
That's when we graduate.
You know the name of it? You might know the name of the Apple
No.
car. Supposedly it's called Trojan. So if you search on the internet, Apple Trojan. We started talking about naming the first day when we came back from school.
Hey, I got these
over
right.
winter
Though.
break.
I mean 100%. I got these right.
You can go back and watch the YouTube videos if you don't believe me. We've been talking about
turn it to
naming
the
for
side.
2 weeks.
I got all these right.
Okay.
Every single one of them. Trust me.
Naming is something that you have to practice. So if you're not practicing, you're not going to do well on the quiz, and you're going to complain to the teacher, "Oh, Miss Steiger, tell me again what to do." Go watch the YouTube video.
All right.
I mean, Christian?
Which of the following is true about the composition of ionic compound?
What is it?
Today.
13.
You say what?
13. You got 3 and 10. Okay, 3 more, so it's going to be 4. Look online, make sure it's correct. It's not, I mean,
That's not on there.
it's not online?
No.
Oh, I'll put it online. Write down the answers as we're going over them that are correct, so you're ready for Friday. All right, let's go with
Which number are we on?
Jimmy.
13. Which
13.
of the following shows correctly an ion pair and ionic compound with 2 ions formed? I said D.
And 14. How about Alyssa?
In which the following are the formula of ionic compounds and the charge of the metal ion shown correctly?
I B.
B is correct.
B for is B 14.
B is 14.
Okay.
Now 15, there was an error. It should have been CA2+ on the actual test. The first response is correct. It's 15A. So that's part of the reason why the test was curved. All right, Cameron.
Get out of here.
So what was it?
15 is A.
Yeah.
I got it right.
Good job.
Put the camera on me.
All right, Cameron. All right, quiet down so Cameron can reread it again.
Which of the following was the name
16
What was the
is
answer?
B. Correction, 16 is D. 16 is D as in dog. Yeah, that's correct. And number 17. All right, Gabe.
Which of the following compounds contains the lead 2 ion? I put A.
And good job, Gabe. Number 18. Let's go with, is that Amani?
Rosebud.
Rosebud.
Which set of chemical name and chemical formula for the same compound is correct? I said C.
Wrong. What is it?
18 is C.
I was talking about 17, right?
You ran.
Shut up. What's the name again?
All right, number 19. Let's go with Naomi.
Which is the correct formula for potassium sulfide? I put C.
That is correct.
Well, what's number 19? C?
Yeah.
All right, let's go with, how about Christian?
Which set of chemical name and chemical formula for the same compound is correct? B.
20 is B. 21, Gabe.
What type of compound is CuSO4? I put polyatomic ionic. C.
Correct. And
C.
25.
22.
Correction 22.
Sorry, I want to.
All right. I was just checking to make sure you're following along. This last week, and one of the first concepts they bring into your attention would be the electron dots. And then if you turn the pages like we read about yesterday, we talked about on Monday the transfer of the electron. And then we're talking about the lattice, melting points. And then we talked a little bit about the ions here, the transition metals. And then we ended on yesterday with the oxygen being used to name these polyatomic ions. So back to the electron dot. This is one of the first concepts in this chapter. Can anybody come up to the board and do 1A or B? Directions. So we made this morning, and it is decreased to around 20 degrees Celsius. You can see, you can hold it in your hand. That's still a little hot. It's still a little warm though, isn't it? Just very, not, you can put your finger in, you can tell it's a little bit above room temperature. But you want to follow those directions. This is around 20 degrees Celsius. And we notice that it lights up without a problem. There's no like flickering, consistent. All right, so one last point on this. Now, Rachel, when they ask me, how are you doing in class, the first thing I look at are the videos, because images never lie. Yes.
Hey guys. Tomorrow's on.
Ethan?
In which of the following are the symbol and name of the ion given correctly? I said A.
A is correct. Number 4. Ethan?
Which of the following correctly provides the name of the element, the symbol for the ion, and the name of the ion? I said C.
C is correct. Number 5. How about Giovanni?
What is the stock name for the chromic ion? And I said C, which is rhodium-3 ion.
Correct. Number 6. Trey?
Which of the following is section? I put C.
And number 7. Ethan?
In which of the following are the symbol and name for both of the ions given correctly? C.
Number 8. Alright, Josh?
Which of the following correctly provides names and formulas of polyatomic ions? I said D.
And number 9. 8 is D, that's correct. Number 9. Josh?
An 8 or I at the end of a compound name usually indicates that the compound contains C.
9 is D. And number 10. Let's go with Tamia.
Which of the following compounds contains the ion?
C is correct. Number 11. Trey.
How are the chemical formulas of binary ionic compounds generally written? A.
And number 11. Correction. 11 is A. Number 12. Go ahead, Giovanni.
Which of the following is true about the composition of ionic compounds? I said A, which is the ion proposed.
C is correct. Number 5. Let's go ahead with Raven. That is correct. Number 6. George. Oh, George's got it. He raised his hand. Shh. C is correct. Number 7.
Actually, on that one, in
Go ahead there.
which of the following authors was the name of both of the ions given correctly? That's C again.
That is correct. Number 8.
I got you.
All right, Robert.
Which of the following correctly provides the name of polyatomic icons? One of 8, right?
Yeah.
G.
That is correct.
Diego got you.
Go ahead, Diego.
In A or I, at the end of the compound name usually indicates that the compound contains D.
Very good. So make sure you're writing these answers down because on Friday, 30.
Test 9 was what?
You don't have one? Let me find one.